This is the Panasonic TZ40 Lumix camera. I got this camera roughly 10 years ago, so in 2014. It's a point and shoot kind of compact vlog camera. The advantages of having something like this is it's so easy to carry around and it's easy to vlog with. The question is though, is it still worth using or buying in 2024? The TZ40 features a 18.1 megapixel 1-inch sensor, which is bigger than the sensor you'll find on your latest smartphone like the iPhone 16 or an S24 Ultra. It has f3.3 to f6.4 and has a zoom range of 20 optical and up to 40 digital. The dimensions and weight, it's very compact, weighing with a battery 198 grams. Of course, since the camera's released in the last 10 years, cameras have evolved and become more advanced with higher megapixels, better autofocus, video quality, higher resolutions, and more features like NFC. Phone cameras such as the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra or Pixel 9, their cameras are so good now. Is it even worth considering buying compact shoot and go cameras like this Panasonic TZ40? The advantage of having a bigger sensor size is that it can let in more light, which should help in lower lights. Here we can see a side-by comparison between my S24 Ultra using the main camera and with the TZ40 set to 12 megapixel. The S24 is capable of shooting in 200 megapixel and the Panasonic maxes out at 18 megapixel. We can see that the photos on the TZ40 are slightly warmer looking, with the photos on the S24 Ultra are slightly cooler. Here we can see that with the f1.8 aperture on the S24 Ultra, the S24 Ultra is able to create depth of field effect, whereas in the TZ40 the aperture can only go to 3.3, which means that the background is still in focus. Here we can see that the S24 Ultra has got more dynamic range. The plant looks definitely more red on the S24. In this photo, they look pretty similar. Here we can see the S24 is using software to create depth of field. The disadvantage of a smartphone is often it's difficult to get large optical zoom due to the form factor of a smartphone. However, this camera here is able to zoom in to 20 times optical without sacrificing the quality, as it's all optical. When testing the optical images, 3 times optical, we can see that again TZ40 photo is warmer with more of a yellowish tone, and the S24 is a cooler tone. At 10 times, we can see that the TZ40 is letting in some more light as the S24 is starting to show that smaller sensor size. At 20 times zoom, we can see that again the S24 Ultra has got more dynamic range with slightly more contrast. At 40 times zoom, we can see that the S24 Ultra still has got more dynamic range and contrast, and it's a slightly brighter image. Here we can see that the S24 Ultra image is slightly sharper with more detail, and it's also a slightly darker look. The S24 Ultra maxes out at 100 times zoom, whereas the Panasonic maxes out at 40 times zoom. When capturing low light images, like the sunset at 15 times zoom, both the S24 Ultra and TZ40 look great. When shooting in very low light, the S24 Ultra does a better job, despite having a smaller lens. Where this camera really shows its age is in the video department. It maxes out at 50 frames per second at 1080p. 4K 60 is now the kind of standard for a lot of cameras. 4K back in 2014 was just emerging and wasn't a standard back then. However, the video quality on this Lumix is fantastic, given its age. The TZ40 features a 3-inch touchscreen LCD display. To the right hand side of the screen we can see the Wi-Fi button, exposure button, the playback button, a 4-way click wheel with a menu select button in the middle. On the top of the camera we find the power on off button, the record button, the shutter button with a toggle zoom, and then the select mode dial. Just like on other shoot and go vlog cameras or DSLRs, the Lumix has a mode dial with 10 different modes, including Intelligent Auto, Program, Aperture, Shutter Priority, Manual, Custom 1, Custom 2, Panorama, Scene, and Creative Control. When testing 1080p video, we can see that the image stabilization is superior on the S24 Ultra, with noticeably less shaking, which I would expect for a 10-year newer camera. This is a test of the image stabilization on the Panasonic Lumix TZ40. Let's see how the stabilization is for an 11-year-old camera. The Samsung definitely looks smoother. When this camera was released back in 2014, the video quality and optical zoom was far superior to current smartphones like the iPhone 5. Smartphones didn't have optical zoom, which made this camera an excellent camera if you liked taking videos with up to 20 optical zoom. However, it's now 2024, and when we compare an 11-year-old compact camera such as the TZ40 to modern smartphones like the iPhone 16 Pro Max or the S24 Ultra or Pixel 9, which have 3 lenses of ultra-wide main and telephoto lenses, with the S24 featuring up to 20 zoom or even 100, I would say that definitely modern day smartphones are better than this 11-year-old camera, which isn't surprising. Of course, Panasonic and Sony make up-to-date models which are similar, such as the Sony ZV-1 Mark II, which can shoot 4K 30, which is great for vlogging, and Panasonic also have a more up-to-date version, their 2022 TZ200 camera, which also shoots 4K. The advantage of such an old camera is the price. You can pick up this TZ40 on eBay for as little as £120 in comparison to, say, a smartphone like the iPhone or a Pixel, which can cost you around £1,000.